So I worked the job for a little bit, and I ended up getting fired from that job. My dad noticed I had the entrepreneur bug in me, so he was like, "Oh, maybe you ought to start doing real estate investing." And I'm like, "Well, how am I going to do that? Because I don't know anyone that's doing real estate investing. I
Hmm.
just told you I got fired. I don't have any money. So how am I going to do that?"
So, Martine, welcome. Thank you so very much for joining. I'm so excited to have you. I have known Martine now. Isn't it crazy? How long has it been? It's probably been like,
I think it's been, I think I joined wholesaling maybe 2017.
yeah, so quite some time. And so we know each other because we both were wholesaling. And I don't know if you still wholesale at all. I
Got
pretty
smart.
much stopped. Huh?
We got smart.
Yes, we got smart and we started buying instead of just, being the middleman. And wholesaling is cool. I'm not trying to down it, but you're constantly going and going because you're constantly looking for your next deal, and you're not building equity, you're not building, legacy. You're just kind of have this almost like a job, right? And so, Martine, give us a little bit of background about yourself. Like I said, you've been in real estate, you've been in the game for a minute now. So tell everyone, what is your background? What is your history?
Sure. So I've been in real estate investing for 10 years now, which is kind of amazing. It's unbelievable. It's been 2 years. It kind of flew, to be honest with you.
Right, I know.
But prior to me getting into real estate, I had gotten my degree at James Madison University. I have a degree in finance, and I worked jobs before I graduated. And I used to always think, well, when I get the degree, I'm really gonna love that job. Like I'm gonna just have to suffer right now because when I get that degree, I'm gonna love that job. And I still hated the damn job when I graduated.
Yeah.
It sucks. So I worked the job for a little bit, and I ended up getting fired from that job. My dad noticed I had the entrepreneur bug in me, so he was like, "Oh, maybe you ought to start doing real estate investing." And I'm like, "Well, how am I going to do that? Because I don't know anyone that's doing real estate investing. I
Hmm.
just told you I got fired. I don't have any money. So how am I going to do that?" And he's like, "Oh, you're smart. You'll figure it out." So he's right. I was smart. I figured it out. I just started hanging around people that were hungry, that they wanted more out of their life. They were entrepreneurs. They wanted to do more than just the 9 to 5 grind.
Hmm.
So I started hanging around them. Someone gave me a book. It was called How to Quit Your Job in 19 Weeks by Sean Terry.
Mm.
I was like, wow, this is an interesting title. So I read it, and it talked about wholesaling in that book. And I'm like, wait a second. You can take a house and put it under contract and sell the contract? I was like, say no more. Let me do that. Well, fast forward, it took me 2 years to get a deal under
Oh my
contract. But
gosh.
tell you that when I did get it under contract, it started raining because I got 5 deals under contract around at the same time. So perseverance is key.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got those deals because I used to listen to Tom Kroll on his podcast, Wholesaling Inc.
Hmm.
He found out that I got these deals done from listening to his podcast because somebody was bad mouthing him in one of the Facebook groups, and I stood up for them. They were just like, "Man, that's fake. That doesn't work." And I'm like, "Whatever. I got 5 deals under contract from listening to this guy." He saw it, invited me on the
Oh
podcast.
my
I'm like,
gosh.
"It's like a celebrity."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Me?" So he puts me on the podcast, and he invites me into the tribe. And when I got invited into his tribe, that's when I just want to say the difference between doing things on your own and doing it with a coach. Yes, I was doing deals before I joined his coaching program, but the deals became much larger
Mm.
because I started hanging around people that were doing like big deals. And I'm like, oh, they can do it. I can do that. So that's kind of my real estate journey, how I got here. And I just had to persevere until it started working for me. But thank God I did because it's totally changed my
Yeah.
life.
I mean, 10 years later, now that you've kind of transitioned away from wholesaling, what would you say is your main or favorite form of passive income now?
Well, it's definitely buying and holding real estate properties. Renting
Yeah.
properties is my bread and butter. I love it. I can talk well, I don't know if I can talk you into it, but I can tell you how I love it, and maybe that'll rub off on you.
Mhm. So, I mean, what is your favorite? How did you transition from wholesaling to buying and holding? Like, what was that change and shift for you?
Right. So, to be honest with everyone, I got my first rental by complete accident. And you're probably wondering, like, how did you get a rental property by accident? But I used to go in everybody's house, and I got this from a podcast, and I would ask them, do you want a cash offer or would you take payments? And everybody always wanted the cash offer. But one time I got someone that wanted to take the payments, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you want to take the payments? Nobody wants to take the
What
payments.
do I do with this?
So, like, well, let me see how I want to structure this deal, and I'm going to get back to you after we have already built rapport, we toured the house, all that good stuff. And in my head, I'm thinking, I have to figure out how to do this because no one has ever taken the pay, like, said they wanted payments.
Right, right.
So,
It's like you got to learn on the job right now.
so I go to a meetup, they present, they talk about all the good stuff that they're doing. We get to the question period. I stand up. I say, hey guys, I went to somebody's house and said they'll take the payments. I don't even know how to structure the deal. Can somebody help me? They used me as a case study and they showed me how to structure the deal. I took it back to the seller. We negotiated a little bit, but then we ended up doing a lease with an option to buy.
Okay.
And then I ended up renting that property. I bought that property eventually. My option to buy that property was $35,000. And
Wow.
I'm letting you guys know this because this is the power of buying and holding. I
Mm.
still own this property. It's worth
Wow.
$240,000.
Wow.
That
Wow.
is the power of
Yeah,
holding. Why make a quick profit sounds nice, but it's short sighted.
it
Like you
really
can
is.
come and then you also can benefit off of things appreciating.
Right.
So
I mean, I remember doing deals, wholesale deals, where I thought I made so much money, but within a matter of months, I'd be like, so where that money go? Where that money? I don't know, you know? And it was just frustrating because it's like you got to start the cycle all over again.
right,
And that's the difference with wholesaling versus buy and hold. With buy and hold, you're reaping the benefit every single month, and then you're reaping it for years, you know? And if you hold on to it long enough, you can pass that on to, family, children, all those things. So I want to circle back though. One thing that you said that I think is so key, and I think a lot of people miss this and they let opportunities pass them by, is that you didn't really know how to structure that deal, right? You were like, no one has ever taken the payments before. Instead of just walking away and being like, well, I don't know how to do that, girl, so deuces, I need the cash. Instead of doing that, you went to a meetup, a real estate meetup, right, in your local area. And I forgot to mention that you're from Richmond, Virginia,
and
right? So you went to a local meetup and told a bunch of investors, and this is the power of networking with like-minded people, with people who are ahead of you. And you said, squeeze me, hello, I need help, and that is so crucial because the proverb, like, want to go fast, go by yourself, do it alone. You want to go far, go with others. I butchered it, but that is so important, like finding mentors, finding people who are going to help you, finding people who have done this before so that you can just follow along and be like, oh, okay, well, tell me what to do, I'll do it. And being coachable, right? I remember when I was working with Tom, that was one of the things he'd be like, I told you what to do, Nana, do it. I'd be like, but I don't want to. It's like you either do it or you don't, right?
right,
So I think that is so important, to take that little nugget, and sometimes it's just that one step, it's just that one action, that is going to propel you forward, because after doing that, like, what has been the trajectory for you?
So after doing that, I was still wholesaling. It wasn't like I was going in everybody's house and saying, "Hey, you want the payments? Oh, you don't want them?" No, I was the wholesaler.
Right, right.
I was still like months after, I'm still getting paid from this deal I did a long time ago. And I'm like, wait a second. I need to figure out how to do more of these because getting paid from something I did a long time ago feels great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, supposed to be for a season. It's not supposed to be forever. So I'm not trying to keep hustling till I'm 70, 80. No, no, no. I'm trying to enjoy life. I want to hustle for a season to get what I need to get. And then I
Right.
enjoy life. I take a deal when I want to take a deal type of thing.
Yeah.
So that kind of propelled me into like really diving deeper on how I could keep properties without without really using my money, because as you said, like you would make money on a wholesale deal, a couple months later the money would be gone. You used
Mhm.
it for things, it's
Yeah.
gone. So
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder how I could keep more properties. And then I found out that I could use private money, which private money is only just using other people's money that they have in their retirement accounts,
Mm-hmm.
they have in their bank accounts. It's just sitting. Maybe they use a line of credit, whatever they use. To be honest, none of my business. But whatever they use, they lend that money out to me to make great returns. And that allows me to get into deals without using any of my own money. So
Mm-hmm.
I found that out because I was already good at finding deals. I was
Right.
already finding deals. I was selling them to other people. So once I was good at finding the deals, and now I knew that I could use other people's money, I was like, I need to get good at finding the money. So then
So
I
how
started.
did you become aware of private money?
So I became aware because I was like a sponge. I wanted to hang around everybody that was doing real estate investing. I was in different groups that talked about real estate investing. And I'll put his name out there. It was Jim Ingersoll. I was in his mastermind, and it wasn't even that long because I think when I was in his mastermind, I really didn't have a lot of money, and you had to pay for it every month. So I'm like, I got to soak up as much knowledge as I can this month, because next month I don't know if I'm gonna be in here.
Right. Right. It's like you get what you can for a little bit real fast.
So I'm over here watching the videos, and I'm like, wait a second, what is this self-directed IRA stuff? Let me find out more about this. And I found out that people can take their retirement accounts, roll them over into self-directed IRAs, 401ks, whatever you want to roll it over into. But by having it self-directed, you're able to you're able to choose what you want to invest
Mm-hmm.
in. So if you want to invest in real estate, you can invest in real estate. And I mean, you can invest in real estate like owning it, but it's just so many rules because you're not supposed to service the property.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot easier for a lot of people to just lend the money to someone else, let them do all the work, make a good return, and then like it's safe. They know that they didn't do a prohibited transaction or anything like that. So I learned a lot about that, and I just went to work. I started networking, having lunch with people. I think I had a podcast at the time. I did a meetup in Richmond, and I really did the meetup that I had in Richmond because that's how I learned. I learned
Mm-hmm.
from meetups and podcasts because that's all I could afford at the time. So I figured somebody else can learn from this as well. And then
Right.
it also just made me an authority. Everybody, like, if I'm teaching you how to do it, I must know how to
Right.
do it. So it made it so people wanted to work with me. So that's kind of how I propelled into keeping things. And I mean, as you know, it's gone very well for me. Uh,
Yeah.
I've reached my freedom number. And, for people that don't know, freedom number is just saying that you have enough passive income to cover all your expenses. So if I wanted to be a lazy bum, I could, but I just feel like I learned so much. I gotta share this with people. Y'all
Yes,
need to do it too.
absolutely.
You need
Absolutely. So, is that
to
your main strategy for buying property without using your own cash or credit? Like, how are you structuring some of these deals just in general?
right.
How are you putting the money together?
So my bread and butter, how I usually structure, and sometimes it'll change, but most of the time, I'm buying these properties and I'm getting them at a discount, and I want to make sure that I'm all in 70% what it's going to be worth after it's fixed up. So what I mean when I say all in is I want my purchase price plus the renovation to be at 70% or lower than what it's going to be worth fixed up. And because I do it this way, it allows me to not have to put any of my money out of my pocket.
Mm.
I'm using private lenders. So these are just people. These aren't institutions where they have like, this is the checklist of how you get money from me. We got to do appraisals. No, 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 no. We're not doing none of that. I'm showing them the comps to show you this is what the property is worth. I'm showing you that this is my exit strategy. I'm showing you my scope of work of what I'm going to do to this property. I'm giving them the idea this is how you're going to get your money back. This is how
Mhm.
much I can offer you to invest in this property. And that has allowed me to be able to buy these properties and not use any of my money or credit when I'm buying them.
Right. That is fantastic because I think one of the biggest things when I post on social media about real estate and look at the comments, one of the biggest things that people say is, well, where am I getting this money? How am I supposed to do this? Because real estate as an asset is one of the largest purchases people will buy in their lifetime a lot of the time. And so it's quite a lot of money, and when you think you have to come up with this money all by yourself, it can be so daunting. It'll just dissuade people from even getting started. So knowing that you can start using private money, regular people who just have, think of people in your circle, right, who just have money sitting aside in their 401k and it's not really making them as much money. Here you can propose to them learning how to do this, right? Learning from someone like Martine, how to actually structure this kind of a deal. Because once you learn it, I always like to talk about getting active to get passive. A lot of people think passive income is like you just
That's
sit there and yeah, and it just falls on you. Like, no, you have to get active. You have to actually put in the strategy, set up the system. It may take some upfront work, it may take some upfront time, but the payoff is so worth it at the end, right? And that's why learning from someone like Martine about, how to structure buying without cash or credit, learning from someone like me on how to set up, your Section 8 rentals so that you're getting guaranteed income every single month. Like, it's so interesting online right now because so many people are like, courses are scams, are scams. But you're looking at two people who invested over and over again, continue to invest in their education. That is like my big thing. Like when people talk about where all their money goes and they say purses and all this stuff, mine is coaching, courses, and vacations. And now my kids, because I got
it's
a 1 year old and one on the way.
like it's about experiences,
Yeah,
and you do that. So that's where you put your money. And one thing that I learned from Robert Kiyosaki, because I like to do a lot of reading, but if you want the purses, the luxury car, if you want that, there's nothing wrong with that. But get
absolutely.
pay for it. Like, don't just take the money that's not going to make any more money off. Like, let's say you sold something and you decide that you want to buy your nice luxury car. I would advise you not to do that. I would advise you to take your money to pay for something that's going to pay for that luxury car for you. So you can't have the nice things if you
Right.
want. I mean, to be honest, it was a while I wanted certain things, and then I got them, and I'm like, it's not really worth it.
But it's
Like,
nice to have been able to get them to experience whether it's worth it or not, right? Because you would always have that wanting, but you bought assets that allows you to buy whatever kind of bag, whatever kind of thing you wanted. And you were like, okay, I've scratched that itch,
right,
right? And I don't have to think about it. And I have the opportunity to continue to do it if I want to. If it's like, I love purses, like nothing wrong with that, right? This is what I'm using my assets for. I'm buying all the bags. I'm buying the Birkins. I'm not a purse girl, so I don't even know what they are. But y'all know.
right,
So
right,
that is the beauty of it. So how would you say, how long would you say it takes to profit from this strategy? Start like seeing money.
right. So, for me, once you've bought the property, so this is once you bought the property, this is not you finding the property, but once you bought the property, I'd say an average turnaround time for you to start making some money is probably 3 months. And that's for an average person. I'd say it's an average Joe. You're moving along, but you're not like expediting the process. Now, if you're like Speedy Gonzalez or you on it, maybe you can get your money in a month. But I'd say about 3 months, you start getting that passive income from that.
Okay. Now, I see someone in the chat asks, how do you find good deals? Now, I know you're a pro at this because you have been wholesaling for the last decade, basically, right? I stopped wholesaling probably right before COVID hit when I moved and then family stuff. So, but I know you know how to get some good deals, right?
Yeah. So I will say I've changed my strategy actually. I used to do a lot of marketing to motivated sellers. I know you probably heard that so much. Oh, find a motivated seller where they might have a distressed property or they might be in a distressed situation. And I think that that is still true. You need to have that at the core to be able to get things at a discount.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've done to like I guess to make this more fun, so to speak, I'm not cold calling, I'm not marketing like crazy. What I do is I have built a relationship business where I have a network of individuals that I've built and they know exactly what I'm looking for. I know exactly what they're looking for, and they're not all in the real estate space.
Mm-hmm.
And when they see what I'm looking for, or they hear someone say, "Oh, I want to sell my house and it looks like this, I really need to just get rid of it." They know the cues. They call me and they connect me to that person directly. And that has made business so much more fun. I'm not getting cursed out anymore.
Oh my gosh, those days, cold calling.
Coming from a place of someone, it's very warm when I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
to these people because a trusted person that they know referred me and they wouldn't put their name on the line if I didn't know what I was doing. So that's
Right.
what I started doing, and that has been just huge. It's been
Yeah.
tremendous. It's worked really
I
well.
think that's wonderful. I mean, I didn't even think of it that way, but that is how we got our last property was just knowing, our network, knowing that we're interested in real estate, knowing that someone had their property on the market for their house on the market for like over 2 months. They're trying to leave the country. It's like, we just talked to them. It was so simple because girl, I used to live in Washington, D.C. And that's where I used to wholesale and cold call. And DC folks do not care about your little feelings, okay? They will curse you from morning to night. They'll follow up with curses.
Oh,
Like, oh my gosh. And so, like we said, there's nothing wrong with those strategies. They work. They just take more work, right? And I think the both of us are in different seasons in our lives, right? When we first started, I don't know about you, but I was single, ready to mingle. I had time. I would sometimes work a 9 to 5, but I was very much like you, and I'd be like, oh man, F this 9 to 5. And I would be just working my wholesaling business. So I had more time. But when you build systems that kind of let the leads come more naturally to you, then I think it's just a much easier and, like you said, more warm process, right?
yeah. Way more warm. You can build better relationships, in my opinion. And I mean, they're coming from a place. They're coming from a person they trust.
Right.
So they know that person wouldn't have sent you to them if they didn't believe that you'd be able to do what you said that you're going to do.
Okay. I totally agree. Do you mind if I take some more questions from folks? Okay.
Come in. That's why I kind of like hesitated. I'm like,
Yeah,
ooh, what's it say?
that's a good one, right? I was like, Darling Dell, I like your questions. I love your comments. She asked, what did you learn from Jim that was a game changer?
Ooh. So this was great, and I went to lunch with Jim. I want to say it was last week. We had a great lunch, and now I'm Jim's neighbor because he taught me all his strategies.
You said, I want to live where you live.
But I told him, and I'm going to tell you as well. What I learned from Tom, that's the guy that was the coach for Wholesaling Inc., was how to find deals. He showed me who do I need to go after, who do I need to be targeting, who do I need to be speaking with to find good deals. What I learned from Jim is how to keep deals.
Mm,
He showed me how to get the money so that I could keep the deals.
mm,
And that was like game, like both of them were game changers because
right.
like if I'm honest, Tom teaches me how to coach right now.
Hmm.
But learning those two strategies and putting them together really just made it so that I was getting amazing deals. And like the thing that I want to let people know as well if you're really good at getting things at a deep, deep discount, and I mean, you may be, I'm not going to say you may be, you will be giving offers that are
Right.
uncomfortable. And
Right.
you're able to get things at that deep, deep discount, you can still get what you would have gotten as a wholesale fee or as a you flipping it fee once you fix it up, put the tenant in there, refinance it. You can
Mhm.
get a huge check right there and
Right.
keep the property, and not to mention a big check, tax-free check.
Yeah.
So, and still have someone else pay off that asset for you while it appreciates. So I just want to emphasize that because people are like, oh, well, I want to get a big check now. Well, you need to negotiate a little bit better and you can still get a big check right
Hmm.
now.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's so phenomenal. And I think it's great to hear, what each coach, like, what was the game changer? What was the thing that you took away? And I agree, like, for me, Tom, it was learning how to actually find deals, right? And because before I met Tom, I was just in the wholesaling world, but very willy-nilly, like, didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't actually, unlike you, I did not know. I started listening to the podcast, started implementing, but I was like, okay, I'm getting somewhere, but I'm not really getting there. So let me actually pay this man and learn from him so that I can get where I want to be. And I started just making so much money. Like I said, wholesaling, I'm not bad mouthing it at all because you can make some really, really good money. But then when you reach a certain point, or before you don't even have to go that route, right? You can say, okay, well, this is the route I want to go. I want to learn from someone who knows how to build these assets that I can hold on to and still make big chunks of money along the way, right? And that's what Martine does. So, um,
Well, I want to add something on that because I feel like it's a good point right
yeah.
now. If you watch on my page, I do bad mouth wholesaling, even though that's what I started.
I was trying to, there might be some wholesalers in here. I
I
was trying to spare their
know.
feelings.
But the reason I do that is because I want you to stop wholesaling everything. If I knew what I knew now back then, I would have kept a lot of those
Oh,
deals
girl.
under contract for $15,000. These houses are now going for $500,000.
Girl, imagine wholesaling in DC. These houses are worth multiple millions that I wholesaled. Multiple millions. So you know what? You're right. We kind of should bet because we don't want you to feel like us
Ah,
10 years
you
from
work
now.
you worked so hard getting these deals, and then you're just gonna give your equity away
Hmm.
because you sold it. So yes, I'm gonna badmouth it. I don't care if that's where I started. Watch it live. If you know better, you do better. We're telling
Absolutely.
you can buy stuff without using any of your money, so you can't even use the excuse of, oh, I need to save 20% down so I can go buy me an investment property. No, you don't. You can buy these properties without using any of your own money.
Hmm.
And you can keep them. You don't have to sell them. You can keep them and build your buy and hold portfolio, which I call building my freedom. And I want to just say one last thing before you ask me another question. But one of my lenders, I had a buy and hold lunch. One of my lenders came to the lunch, and he said, I said something, and he made it quotable, and I was like, man, it's a good point. I didn't realize that was such a great quote, but I built my freedom on using other people's money.
Mm.
So I want you to build your freedom using other people's money.
Yes. Yeah. That's fantastic. I think that's a good quote. He was very right. So build your freedom on other people's money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so before I ask you, if people are interested in learning more and getting to connect with you, I always like to ask folks, this one question, if you, I know you said you're a big reader. So what would you suggest, or what would you say is one of your favorite books that really helped you along your journey to where you are now?
So this book is going to really help anybody that is interested in building relationship business. My whole business is relationship building. It's by getting the deals, getting the money, whatever I need. I get it from relationships. I rarely go on Google and say, let me find a general contractor. I ask someone. But this book, it's called The 7 Levels of Communication. It's by Michael Mayer. I've actually had a coach from his program coach me on how to get these relationships as well. If you notice a reoccurring theme, coaches get coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Next level, but we don't want to take 20 years to get there. So we pay somebody to get us there faster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he talks about all things relationship based. And I'm not going to lie, the book is for real estate agents, and I'm not an agent. But I converted what he said in that book to real estate investing and teaching people how to send me good real estate investment properties
Mm.
so that I can have a relationship built, a relationship system. So, yeah, I would say The Seven Levels of Communication is a great book. It's
And
phenomenal. It's by
who's the author again?
Michael J. Mayer.
Michael J. Mann. That sounds fancy. I'm going to write that down for myself because,
It's
I'm always looking for ways to communicate, especially because I'm a bit of an introvert. So I like, I know people see me online and they're like, she a lie. No, I'm serious. Like, I don't really like talking to people. I've known Martine for like almost a decade. That's why I'm able to do this, right? And it was something I had to get over. Wholesaling kind of helped me because, those cold calling calls, but it would take me like, so much energy and so much hype up to actually make those calls. So learning how to communicate is something I've had to work on myself because closed mouths don't get fed. So I could say, oh, I'm an introvert all day long, but if I want to make this money, I got to speak.
right.
So, no one knows what's going on in my head. So I think that's a phenomenal recommendation for
Mm-hmm.
sure. So if people are interested in working with you and learning more from you, what should they do? How can they reach out to you?
So, for people that you just want to be around a like-minded community of buy and hold investors, if you want to wholesale us some deals, that's okay with us. But if you want to be around a community of like-minded individuals, I have a totally free Facebook group where we give tips. We share strategies. I go over certain things, just like the basics and things like that. That group is called The Freedom Inc. and it's on Facebook. I ask you maybe like 4 questions. If you answer the questions, I let you in. If you do not answer the questions, I will decline you. So I'm just gonna let you know. I want you to answer those questions. But it's totally free. And for people that are more serious or they want some more hand holding, they want someone that's going to hold their hand from the beginning to the end. I do offer one-on-one coaching, and what I'm offering is I will coach you baby steps till you get your first deal done. And the reason it's the first deal done is because once you learn how to do this, this is a repeatable cycle that you can continue to do over and over and over and over again to build as big of a portfolio as you want. And for the people that are interested in that, I invite you to text me. I don't have a huge sales team behind me or anything like that, so it will be me reading your text. But the number is 804-495-1333. Just say, hey, I'm really interested in buy and hold coaching, and I'm going to send you an application, and then we'll set up a time to talk, and we'll see if you'll be a good fit for the program.
Okay, repeat that number one more time.
Sure, it's 804-495-1333.
4951-333. Okay, I just put that in the comments. So go ahead and write that number down and text Martine. She can communicate. She will communicate with you.
I
Now, if you text me, I would be like, oh my God.
love people. But I'm good. I'm a good reader of people. So like, if it's someone I'm noticing that our energies aren't in tune, I'm going to quickly end that conversation. But I love people. I want to help people. I feel like, well, not that I feel. I know this changed my life. It changed the trajectory of my family's life. It built a very solid foundation for us. And I want to help other people be able to build that for their families as well.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Martine. If you joined late, don't worry about it. I will save this recording. I don't really know what might have happened to my YouTube live, but it worked here, so that's all that matters. Okay. You got to go roll with the punches. Someone said, "Can you coach me if I live in another state?" I'll let you
Yes,
answer that.
yes, I can. Because what I'm going to do is I'm not going to fish for you. I'm going to teach you how to fish. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do to find lenders. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to find your deals. I'm going to tell you what you need to do to project manage your project to get it ready for a tenant. Then I'm going to show you how to vet the tenant. Once you vet the tenant, we're going to refinance that property, and you're going to be making money and living good. Then you're going to do it again.
Yes, yes. And if you want to add some Section 8 tenants in there, holler at me. I will answer DMs about that.
That's
So,
right.
yes. And I love Section 8 tenants just for the guaranteed rent because I used to do Airbnb. Not knocking Airbnb. I don't knock the other I don't knock the other hustles.
I'm not.
You know, I still have my Airbnb course. Martine does. See, she's so straightforward. I'm like, oh no. But Airbnb was a hustle, and Mama didn't want to be doing that anymore. So I like the guaranteed rent. And if you want to learn how to get the deals and make sure they are good assets and not have to use your own cash, talk to Martine. Give her a text, and I'll let you share your number one more time before we
Yeah, it's
before we go.
for people that are serious. You want one-on-one coaching, or at least you want to talk about it, application, all that good stuff. My number is 804. That's the Richmond area code. 495-1333. And yeah, Section 8's great. I mean, I don't have any Section 8 currently. I have before, and they were late twice, and they didn't pay me a late fee. I didn't like
Mhm.
that.
Well, girl, you maybe we gotta talk because I teach them how to screen so you get the cream of the crop, girl. My One of my Section 8 tenants has a better credit, more than a better credit. She has like an 800
Right.
plus credit score,
No,
and they are just fantastic. Hmm?
Section 8 program paid the rent late, not the
Oh, oh.
tenant.
Oh no. Oh no, we don't do that. So maybe you need to buy in another area for Section 8. But if you have questions about that, feel free to talk to me. But Martine is the queen, just like her handle says, on getting deals without having to use your own cash or credit. And I know for a lot of us, for a lot of people, that is what's holding them back from getting into real estate. So make sure you get around someone like Martine, someone like myself that is going to show you these strategies so you're not struggling for years on end talking about, oh, one day I'm going to buy, oh, one day I'm going to get into real estate. No, let that day be today, right?
Right.
Um, Yes, for sure, for sure. Thank you so much, darling Dell. I really appreciated your comments. I appreciate everybody's comments and joining us. I know some people were in and out, so I will definitely save this recording for sure. And I will also upload it to my podcast, Passive Income and Chill. And you can find that podcast on Spotify, YouTube, all the places where the podcasts are. And I will include some additional details about how to get in touch with Martine in the description for all of those things. So, Martine, anything else, last thing you want to say or share?
Yeah, I want to share with people that, the best day to get in real estate probably was yesterday, and the second best day is today. So I don't want you to procrastinate and thinking that you need to do this, and that before you're able to actually invest in real estate. To be honest, your situation probably will never be ideal for you to start. You have to work with what you have to get to where you want to go. And then your situation will get better, so you can be in a better position and things of that nature. I just remember, like, when I first started, I had a lot of fear. I was afraid of failing. I was afraid that I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to look dumb. All of those things. And if you can't beat fear, you just have to do it scared, because on the other side of fear is freedom. And I don't want you to be missing out on your freedom because you're afraid to take action. Learn the first step, take that first step, and then come back and say, what's next? Do that step and then ask, what's next? And I laugh when I say this because my daughter does this now. She's almost 2. And she's like, okay, what's next?
Oh my gosh, she's learning from a pro for sure. Well, I mean, that was a word right there. I mean, I even felt that because sometimes I'm still a little afraid and I'm like, just do it. So that is a great reminder. So guys, thank you all so much for joining. I will save this live. I will share it on all the platforms and be sure to reach out to Martine. She is fantastic. There's a reason why we're still in touch almost 10 years later. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. Thank you,
See
Martine.
ya.
Bye.